Hi, welcome to Couples Academy Ask the Experts, and I am Jeff. Oh, Lakeisha, you're muted.
And I'm muted. I'm Lakeisha.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a long day. So what we're going to ask you guys to do is that we know you got questions, so we're going to stack them up right inside of here. Remember, like, share, subscribe. All right, and we have another Last Chance Weekend coming up, and that is in March.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you guys a little taste of that while you get your questions together for us. Let's see here. One of these days I'm going to get good at this. So that's Last Chance Weekend, and if you want the link, the information is right below. Also, we got another week for people to try to show up in Foundry, which is starting. We're starting the group so that everybody can do their homework this week. But next Tuesday will be our first session.
Yeah.
And I'll be coming to you live from Dubai. No joke.
You continue to put that out there.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. This is my first time, so
you should be. That's super exciting. You should be bragging. You should be looking forward to it. You should be taking many pictures and videos and all of that.
But it's not about Dubai. It's really about my 20th anniversary. And being able to celebrate that with my wife.
He was like, bump Dubai. It's all about Marisol. Bump Dubai.
It really is. Like, this is her trip. If I was going to do my version of Dubai, it'd be a lot different.
Yeah.
It'd be all adventure. This is going to be.
No, you would have her jumping out of places and.
Yes, airplanes and helicopters and
skydiving.
Zip lines. And nah, we're not doing that. We're going to do the romantic thing. Do a lot of shows.
There you go.
Camel rides and photo shoots in the desert, that kind of thing. So, all right. So, do we have any questions? Okay.
We do.
Let's see. Who do we got first?
All right. Evan M076 says, what if hubby isn't doing what's needed to help me heal? Should we separate because seeing make me sad and feel alone? Okay. So you're feeling sad and you feel alone in this. So Jeff, this is all you. It's got your name written all over it. What if the husband isn't doing what's needed to help her heal? Should they separate?
Need descriptors here because there's a couple issues I have just with the way it's worded. And I understand people. I
know.
Like, what does hubby not doing that's supposed to help you heal? Because healing is a personal process. Now, if he's not being supportive, if he's not showing up, if he's not engaging in conversation, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But healing is a personal process that needs to be undertaken. He should be supportive of that. I absolutely 100% agree. But what is he not doing? Let's get into it. What are you expecting, first of all? Because your expectations determine that process. And sometimes we have realistic expectations, like being supportive and showing up and doing the right things and being honest and being upfront. But then
Yeah.
sometimes we have unrealistic expectations. I've been in situations where literally the spouse wanted the husband to let her just be abusive with her words, or you got to really describe what that means for us to be able to go a little deeper. What do you think, Lakeisha?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree that it is an individual process. At the same time, I want to expound just a little bit, because you are saying that the husband does need to support, but I want to add on to that and say that the husband does need to be doing his work as well.
Absolutely.
And so if he is showing up the same way that he's always shown up, then yes, that will affect, I would say, the rate at maybe you are healing. But you do kind of have to take the focus off of your husband, really focus on what it is that you need. And it's two parts, right? You're trying to assess whether or not you want to stay in the marriage, but you're also trying to assess what it is that you need to heal. So it's two parts, because you can do all of the work in the world and still decide that you don't want to be there, or
And
vice versa. You could choose to stay and not do any work. So it's two parts. You have to do your work, he has to do his work. If he is not showing up the way that you need him to, yes, that is going to affect your ability to move forward at a steady pace and at a rapid rate. It can delay your ability to heal, but you have to stay so focused on getting yourself to a healthy place that regardless of how he shows up, you continue to do your work.
I agree. One thing I want to point out, the reason why I was getting nervous when people start throwing out that word separation,
I
most
know.
people don't realize 60% of marriages end in divorce, but 80% of separations end in divorce. So you
Mm,
have to know what you're asking for, because
mhm.
a lot of times people do separations. They're not controlled separations. They're not a planned separation with a plan. Having
Right,
a counselor with you, helping you through that. I'm not the guy
right,
for that, but Hassani, Lakeisha, they can all help you with controlled separation plans. That's a much different process than moving out. And what you end up having when people move out is they end up moving on with their lives.
mm,
And sometimes one of the parties who wants the separation really didn't want the divorce. They're just using that as a control mechanism to try to encourage something positive. I'm going to tell you,
mhm.
separating is not always the answer. It can actually enhance the problem,
Right,
because it's going to create two people feeling lonely, discouraged, and desperate. What I would say is the best bet is he getting the help he needs, and are you getting the help you need in order to help you figure out this process? Because it doesn't come with a manual. Like,
right.
you can read all the books you want, but the truth of the matter is every situation is a little bit distinct and different. They have different circumstances, and it's not a cookie cutter one one
One
size
size
fits
fits
all
all. Yeah.
situation. So I would suggest that both of you have help in the process. It's one thing if he's unwilling, it's
Mhm.
another thing if he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. That's good, Jeff. That's good. And you know what? You made a really, really good point. Because we've all heard that saying, that cliche, that absence makes the heart grow fonder, but really absence makes the heart grow fonder for someone else.
And
So,
then the other thing is, absence makes the heart grow fonder when you're temporarily separated. Like when I
mhm,
go on a trip for business, or if I go out of town, I miss
right,
my wife. But
right.
if absence without the security of coming back
Mhm,
can make people's minds wander. Some people do not deal well
right.
with that. You ever heard of separation anxiety?
Mhm.
Well, they're not even talking about marriage. They're
Yeah.
talking normally about dogs. but
babies.
Worse with humans because we
Yeah.
actually have questions. Dogs don't have questions; they're just so lonely. Now
Right.
you add lonely with questions, and you create whole new problems.
Absolutely. And insecurities.
Yes.
All right. Nina, how you doing, Nina? Nina says, my husband and I betrayed each other before marriage, married 9 years, no infidelity since. Is it still important to do a disclosure? We have never discussed any of our relationships.
That's a tough one. I
It
mean,
is.
because it's really about where you're at in your
Yeah, is it an
relationship.
issue
Like,
now?
sometimes people want to dig up, dead bones, and if there's problems in the relationship, it might be something to discuss. If it's haunting you or if it's haunting him, definitely something to discuss. But this one happened before the marriage, and I realized commitment is commitment. But 9 years and no infidelity. Your issues may be different than the infidelity that happened before the marriage. And what you may be looking to is for the most severe example of not dealing with the things that are like happen normally in a marriage. There's all kinds of things falling in and out of love. I met I asked a older couple, what was one of the keys to their success in marriage, and the gentleman told me after being married for 47 years, I think they were, that you have to understand that you're going to fall in and out of love. And you have to choose to love them anyway. When you wake up and their breath stinks and you can't stand them, and they don't left their underwear all over the floor. The love actually shows up in those moments when you choose to. Now, I'm not saying that allows for bad behavior, but what I am saying is love is more a decision than an emotion. Because if you're living off the emotion alone, you don't got much, because those emotions fade and change, and you can revive them, but you got to realize that love is a commitment and a decision beyond the emotion.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What else we got out
I
there?
don't think I have anything to add to that. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think you need to dig it up unless it's an issue now.
That's it.
All right, Kay. Hey there. How do you show up when your spouse tells you they can't take this anymore? They are tired of feeling the way they do and no longer want to be with you. But then they come back and apologize and say they regret what they said immediately. It was said in the moment. Also, I feel like out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Now I'm all kind of confused.
So what? Yeah, you're right. Out of the abundance of the heart is what the mouth speaks. But you have to realize that what comes out of the mouth is sometimes in the head and not in the heart.
Not in the heart, right?
So what ends up happening? Like, I used to be a verbal assassin, very much like Asani, and I would say things to get my position heard more than what I hear is a cry for help. What I absolutely hear is a cry for help. And what that cry for help is telling me is that there are things that are left unsaid, there are issues that are unresolved, and there is a fear or a worry or doubt that it can be resolved. That's what I'm hearing, because they're coming back and apologizing and realizing immediately. And what they're really saying is that there's an unresolved issue in the marriage that needs to be addressed. Now, if you guys can't figure that out together, get help. Seriously. I don't do marriage counseling. Just so you guys know, I do male empowerment, and I help the men in the process through the marriage. So when I'm telling you get help, it's not so you can come see me. It's so you can actually get the help for your marriage that you need. You get in touch with Lakeisha, get in touch with Hassani, get in touch with the Jennings team. Find someone that appeals to you and start working through those issues with someone playing referee. I'm telling you, basketball games without referees, messy. Boxing matches without referees, worse. Marriage issues without referees, it's bloody brutal.
Yeah. Well, Kay, I'll say this because she did say, Jeff, that she's in counseling to better herself, but he doesn't want to. I guess he doesn't want to go to counseling. He's going to continue to stay in this space that he's in of toiling back and forth and trying to figure this thing out on his own. And I'm telling you, at times it gets to be too much. And honestly, I think Jeff hit the nail right on the head when he said that, it is a cry for help. Like, you literally are in a place where he's having difficulty controlling his emotions, and his thoughts are all over the place, and there's doubt, and it is overwhelming, and it is exhausting. So I mean, you're in here pretty much every week, if I'm not mistaken, Kay. And so there's been a lot of questions about your husband and what he's not willing to do, and how can you support him, and how can you help, how can you assist. If I'm not mistaken, if you're the same Kay that I think you are, you've been in here quite often. So I mean, you can't make him get help if he doesn't want to get help. But what you can do is let him know that, listen, I'm getting help, it's helping me. Hopefully there's a change in your response and your behavior, and you can be the example for how therapy actually works. But he's got to get to that place for himself, that he's tired of trying to do it by himself. He's saying he's tired, but he keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. So at some point he's got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and do something
the other
different.
thing is, a lot of people have a hard time understanding men have been raised to think that counseling is weak.
Right.
And it's cultural. It goes across cultural lines, but it manifests itself very differently. Like, it manifests itself in the Italian community one way, the Black community another way, the Irish community a different way. It's just looked at as weakness, and that's why I would say that you might want to approach the idea of coaching a little differently. So maybe he has unrequited, for lack of a better word, ambitions in business, in love, in marriage, whatever. Life coaches are pretty normal and a lot more accepted than the idea of counseling. What he needs to find, though, is someone he respects, someone who he sees as what we call a rule one, someone who has what you want and been where you've been. Because counselors who have a degree on the wall that say, I went to college and I studied psychology, doesn't mean that they can help you with their problems. Because a lot of times, if they haven't lived it and haven't done it, then they can't help you with it. I mean, like, can you imagine? And I see a lot of this, single marriage counselors, and basketball coach who never played basketball. Like, there's a lot of this going on out there in the world. I studied it online. They got their YouTube degree. But if they haven't lived it, so sometimes it might be a good idea to introduce him to some concepts and some people who actually are doing what he really wants to do with his life, so he can see, hey, maybe this guy's cool. I want to check that out.
Right. That's good.
What else we got? We got more questions, or are we going to abandon the show?
We do. Cool. Okay. The Lover says, what if a willing and supportive husband wants to be there for his unfaithful wife, but she believes there's no hope for her and wants to leave? Okay, I got to do that again. What if a willing and supportive husband wants to be there for his unfaithful wife, but she believes there's no hope for her and wants to leave? Man.
So there's questions, right? The question is there no hope for her because of what she's done?
Yes.
Or no hope for her because what she knows she's going to do again? That's my question.
Wow.
Because if there's no hope for her because of what she's done, forgiveness and love and help and counseling and all those things can help get her there. But if she's saying there's no hope for her because she plans on doing it again,
wow,
that's where I actually have the concern.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And see, this is why we're here. That's why there's more than one of us, because I had a completely different perspective. I wasn't even thinking of it that way, but that's very much so a possibility. I'm saying, cool, the Lover, man. Listen, if you're the husband and you are willing and you're supportive and you want to be there, right on, keep doing it. If you are the wife that is asking this question, why is there no hope? Have you not forgiven yourself for what it is that you've done? And you are wanting to leave because you're trying to escape disappointment because you think eventually your husband's going to give up and he's going to quit, and you're trying to leave him before he leaves you. Like, where's all of the doubt coming in? And again, have you forgiven yourself? Have you done the work that you need to do so that you can show up in a way that your husband can receive? I mean, it's already sounding like he is being willing and he is being supportive. So
Absolutely.
what do you have to fear?
But the question, you got to get to the root of that. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean there's no hope? What are you saying exactly? Because if it's a forgiveness issue, that could be self-loathing, self-doubt. It could be insecurity. It could be all kinds of things. If there's a fear that it's stepping out again, then that could be a problem too. And that could also be just a fear being generated off the fact that there's not a sense of reconnection. A lot of times, even if we want to show up and be supportive of someone, we're not always showing up in the ways that they need us.
That's it.
And if we don't show up in a way that they need us to, they may be seeing, oh my God, this is not going to work. And the truth of the matter is, when you learn about each other, like Enneagram's one of the processes, you learn different personality styles, and we learn not to love people how we want to be loved, but learn to love them how they need to be.
How they need to be loved. Yeah. Yeah. And that leads right into the next question.
Wait. I want to help with that, but I got Kay over here who I just saw.
Oh, she called you out?
Yeah. Jeff, I feel like that's why he doesn't want to go. But the crazy thing is he counsels his soldiers. So I don't understand why he does not want to do it. Okay, you're right. So this is where I come in. This is my territory. He counsels his soldiers, telling him he needs counseling by another soldier. I know exactly what that man needs. Have him hit me up. I deal really well with Army guys, military guys, Marines, Air Force. Maybe not the Air Force. They never let me land in a plane I took off in. But if he's not Air Force, we're good. No, I'm just joking. Like, seriously though, yeah. Like, if he needs somebody he can respect, have him hit me up. Like, I'm a vet. I'm a successful veteranpreneur. And I have a happy marriage. So if he wants to talk to somebody who's going to keep it real with him, I'll keep it 100. And if he acts up, I'll make him do push-ups.
There's so much more than push-ups that you make people do. You started talking about personality. I mean, it is what it is. It's the truth, right? But you kind of started talking about personality tests. And I was saying that was a perfect segue into Lindsay's question. Hey, Lindsay, what's up? She wanted to know, can Enneagram help in her healing process? Man, absolutely. Of course it can. The more you know about you, the more you understand yourself, the better you are to help other people understand you. And identifying how you show up in a relationship is critically important. But, again, I know your situation. And so the reality is you've got to start doing your own work. And this is definitely part of that process, is understanding your personality, understanding why you think the way that you do, why you show up the way that you do, what makes you tick. And knowing if you are operating in a healthy space or not. If you're not operating in a healthy space, how you can get there. And if you are operating in a healthy space, how you can continue. So absolutely, there is nothing to lose, only things to gain by signing up for Danielle to do your Enneagram. I think that would be awesome. And man, if you could get hubby to come, that would be so powerful. But if not, just 5. You do. Say that.
She mentioned he's a 5 and she wants him to
Well,
talk.
she's not sure. That's what she thinks, but she's not sure.
Okay, well, if she might be right though, because they,
she may be.
They're drained by any engagement. Like 5s are just like over it. They prefer to just keep it all in.
Yeah.
But they can be dealt with. It's just it's just a different process.
It's the how. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do it, girl. Do it. Cali Power Couple, what's up? You're saying I was the unfaithful male. I've realized that one can't allow your feelings and emotions to control you. If you do, they control you.
That's 100% facts. I mean, at the end of the day, instinctual living. We move through 4 stages of living. And unfortunately, most people stay stuck in the first one. and that's instinctual living, right? And that's where we're driven by reactionary. That's mostly emotion, fear. These kinds of things are instinctual type of living. They're survival mechanisms. We were given it for a reason, but we have moved beyond that into humans, as humans, into the intellectual realm, which is where we're seeking knowledge to grow. And when we seek knowledge to grow, we get huge benefits out of it because we're training our instinctual living to a different level. Now, beyond that is discipline. That's where we actually start practicing what we learn. And that's the stage that most of us want to get into. Unfortunately, 80% of the planet is stuck in instinctual or intellectual. And so the whole idea is not only to get beyond the instinct, not just to learn things that are new, but to begin to put them into practice. And through practice over and over and over again, we can reach mastery, which is the fourth stage of living.
Go, Jeff. This is why the people show up. Jeff, can you help my husband? He is in Foundry, separated since 12:30. Hey, Kathy, miss you, sis. Of course, Jeff can help your husband. And you know what? The other husbands that are in Foundry can help your husband too.
Kathy, I know your situation and I know your husband. I have a question for you simply, and you can reach out to me privately or you can reach out to Hassani and let him know. Is there hope on your end? Because I don't necessarily know that he believes there's hope. So let us know.
All right. All right. Cool. The lover came back and said, what if the unfaithful wife is not telling the husband how he should be, I'm assuming, there for her? He wants to do what's good for her. You know what? When you're dealing with the unfaithful spouse, a lot of times they don't even think they are deserving of requesting anything because of what they've done. So it may be a situation where she has not taken the time to seriously sit down and evaluate, assess, identify what it is that she needs. And until she does that, like, you don't know how to move forward. But this is one thing that I know for sure. Prior to infidelity, there were issues. So if you can take a moment and stop and think about, what were you guys arguing about before? Where were the disagreements? Where was the discord? Were there specific things that she was asking for from you or expected from you that maybe you weren't consistent with, or you weren't able to accommodate, you weren't able to meet, or you didn't hear her at that time? I don't know. See if there's something that comes up for you when you think about that. And if so, focus on doing those things, but also just reassuring her that you are there. You're not trying to go anywhere. You want to be supportive, but you know, you need help. You need her to help you.
And you know, one of the things I always ask couples to do, and I'd rather do this in a session than anything else, but like, what does she need to believe about you for her to feel secure in the marriage? What does she need to know about you for her to feel secure in the marriage? And the reason why I'm asking that is there's all kinds of reasons why people start going distant. I mean, I've seen it range the spectrum. I've seen it where I hear these situations and I'm looking at the screen and I don't realize that, like, okay, so I ran into a situation where a particular spouse had literally just let himself go physically and was like putting himself in the grave with food, and then was wondering why his spouse was abandoning him when she had pretty much begged for years that he do something about it, and she just couldn't sit there and watch him die, right? Kill himself slowly while, you know, diabetes is creeping in, all kinds of different things. And, you know, we go meet our spouses one way and we all end up growing differently and doing different things. But there's some things when we stop self-care, when we stop taking care of ourselves, and then we want someone else to turn around and care for us, that's almost cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying just because somebody gained a little weight, you know, I'm all with the music soul child, I still love you. Now, that's all good, is what I'm saying is when people get ridiculous with it. Because I've watched this happen. I've watched it happen with family members and people who are close to me, where they literally sit in a chair, sit back, throwing chips down their throat, drinking beers, and then all of a sudden wonder why their spouses are spending more time with their girlfriends or whatever they're doing, and because all of a sudden now they want to show love. Yeah. And so we have to look at ourselves first.
Yes.
What we're doing before we start wanting to go, well, they're not showing, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at the things that we can do to keep them from wanting to leave. Because my wife deserved to leave me. I'm telling you, I'm celebrating 20 years. Thank God she stuck around. But there was a lot of things I had to change about me. Mm-hmm. And I used to always think it was her.
Yep. Same. We got to get real with ourselves. We got to be willing to look in the mirror and face the truth, no matter how bad it hurts. Jeff, JJ Rick says, man, I want to thank you for letting me know that my anger was poisoning me. With the triggers class, I'm learning to let go of the anger. I finally am feeling free. There it is. Like, that's it, right?
That's it. That's it right
there.
That's
it. That's why we show up every day. That's why we do what we do. For that last line, I finally am feeling free. That is what we want for each and every single one of you. And listen, like always, you wait until 9:29 to post your questions, and we are out of time. So we are going to have to bid you all adieu for this evening. Hopefully you will join in the morning. Man, look, hopefully you'll join us in the morning. We'll be right back here tomorrow night. Maybe not Jeff. I don't know if you're here. I'm not. But someone will be here tomorrow for Ask the Experts. And so bring your questions back, man. We're here for you.
I got a 13-hour flight the next morning.
Oh my gosh. Well, so Jeff may not be here. I don't know.
Somebody will be here.
Someone will. Someone will be here. So
let's see, guys. We're gonna have to say goodnight.
Yes, man. Goes by so fast.
Good night.